In terms of the actual business that I was involved in, didn't help a great deal.
Right.
Because I was very B2B, so business to business. It's that fame thing as well. And that does open doors. You get to do things. I was a bit of a reluctant celebrity, but also I wasn't that comfortable with it initially, to be really honest with you. Quite confident and go out there and do it. I sit there in the den and give it my best shot. But over time, you sort of grew into it. I only did it for 2 years. So I think it's nice to be someone who was a dragon rather than someone that is a dragon. People identify you as that as one permanently.
Hey, Piers Lenny. Piers is an entrepreneur and investor with experience across a range of sectors, including technology, media, communications, and additive manufacturing. The co-founder of Atherton Bikes, world-leading producer of additive manufactured mountain bikes, and the founder of Moblox, a technology and tools platform for small businesses. Well-known champion of entrepreneurship and small and medium-sized business, and a regular media commentator on radio and TV. Best known for former Dragon's Den investor on BBC One TV show, and also from Channel 4's The Secret Millionaire.
If you make great content and you're persistent and you're consistent, and maybe you do put some money in terms of the quality of it and marketing it, eventually you will break through. And the ones that do are the ones that are always maniacally consistent, really.
So going back to maybe the mountain biking and the restructuring your life, when are you at your happiest?
That's a good question, actually. And
Welcome to another episode of Screw It, Just Do It with me, Alex, and my very special guest today, Piers Lenny.
God, there's a lot to catch up on.
A lot,
Yeah.
I know. So first of all, Screw It, Just Do It moment. So moments in your life where you were on a certain path and took you onto another path, stopped you procrastinating, doing what you're doing, took action. I'm thinking, potentially one from you going from, lawyer, banker into the entrepreneurship world, but equally there might be one more recent as well that took you into the Moblox space.
So naturally, I'm not a procrastinator. So I keep telling my daughters, my stepson, saying, any decision is better than indecision. So I make decisions. But there are moments in my life where I've had to choose a path almost. You hit these forks, don't you? So let's go for your list, essentially. So one of the big ones was I grew up in a mill town in Lancashire. I've been through that story before. But I was a trainee solicitor in the city, and that was pretty hard to get into that. But it was even harder to get into banking. I became a banker at Credit Suisse when it was solvent. So I spent, several years in the city and banking, probably 3 years. And then the dot-com opportunity came about. So this is now 1999. And I was working with a chap I'd met through a guy I trained as a lawyer with. And crazily, I've got a bit of a tan, more of a tan than usual. I've been in Miami.
Yes.
And I haven't seen this, it's called Doran. I haven't seen him for it must be over 20 years. And we sort of met up in Miami, went for dinner, and it was like I saw him yesterday.
Wow.
So we set up this business, and it was like a side hustle, what they call it now. And the point came where we thought, right, we can actually raise some money. And we were kind of waiting. He was a plastic surgeon. He had an MBA as well. And the day came where I got my bonus. And that's the day where if you left before you got your bonus, we weren't going to pay your bonus. So I got the bonus literally within half an hour I'd resigned.
Wow.
But the Screw It, Just Do It moment was, do I leave this job where I'm earning, more money than I could even spend, bought my first car on a debit card, £250,000 a year at the age of 25. This is in like the late 90s. Do I go and start this business, or do I stay here and keep taking the money? And when I talk to people, especially my mum, it's kind of like, don't be stupid, you've got a good job, what are you doing?
Yeah, standard.
But I was always going to do it. And I literally took my bonus, resigned, walked out of the room. Although I think we paid each other about £30,000 a year from the startup. So my income dropped by a factor of probably even 10 almost, but my spending didn't. So that was the issue for a few years.
Right.
And then, so another big one really was, one of the stories I've probably done it before on one of your pods, is Dragon's Den. So Dragon's Den, so I'd done The Secret Millionaire, so I've been asked to do that. And that was kind of a one-off thing. You saw it or you didn't. And that was where I was in Wolverhampton. I met a young lad called Daniel who, quite serious offences, 11 years, at the age of 19. Fast forward 10 to 12 years, whatever it is, last week he told me he's got another job. Every time I see you, he's got another job. and he's probably earning more money than me now as a cloud infrastructure architect.
Really?
Bonkers.
Still in touch?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I sort of,
That's cool.
he might see this, so I wouldn't say I mentored him because that's probably a bit too. It wasn't that sort of formal, but I was probably like, I could probably say, don't mind him here. I was kind of the uncle he never had that you can ring up and say, I need a rent guarantee, or I opened a few doors, I employed him for a while, I made him redundant, which is quite awkward.
Wow.
And we stayed in touch. So after that, a similar producer who knew me from Secret Millionaire was chasing me saying, do you want to go on Dragon's Den? And I wasn't really sure about it initially, partly because I was just busy. And they were chasing me and I hadn't made my mind up. Now, at the time, I gave quite a large donation to Virgin Unite, which is the Virgin Foundation, essentially.
Funny how life comes full circle.
I'm actually seeing Holly Branson again today, funnily enough. It's been a while. And I got to go to Soweto and meet entrepreneurs in Soweto. Unbelievable, families there making dolls out of scrap rags and selling them internationally. Real sort of entrepreneurs. And then we spent some time at Kruger National Park. He's got that James Bond Ulu Saba sort of lair there. Beautiful place. And I was there thinking, and this is not one of those founder stories that you make up after the event and embellish it. This is how it went down, right? So I was sort of sitting there saying, what do I do? And I know the producer today, she's ringing me, called Kerry, and she was saying, we're going to do it. I thought, who do I talk about? Media, business, combining the two. You know where this is going. So I had a conversation with Sir Richard. He said, hey, you should do it. And he literally said, screw it, just do it. This is when the book was out, this kind of time, isn't it? And I said, okay, fine. Got up to walk away. And he said, no, come back here. Bring the producers back right now, and tell them you're in. So I'm sitting there thinking, do I want to, it's Richard Branson, what do I do?
Telling you.
Do I go away and say, I need another 5 minutes? And I thought, screw it, just do it.
Yeah.
So I called her back, I think it was Kerry actually, and said, I think I told her, I'm sitting here with Sir Richard, I'm in. And that was, I ended up on Dragon's Den, quite literally.
It's not like you said, that 5 minutes, like when somebody in the den will go, can I just have 5 minutes? And they go and stand by the curtain, turn their back to the dragons, have a conversation with themselves. It
was a bit like that with myself, yeah. And then, even very recently, so this is probably a week ago. So I'm sort of leading quite hard into artificial intelligence. It fascinates me, it scares me, but I think a huge opportunity for businesses. I think smaller businesses and creatives especially. Talked about that earlier. And so I met a guy who did I did a podcast with NatWest.
Yep.
And I met a chap on there and we have been talking about this and he had an approach to it and I had some thoughts on it. And we were on a call on the weekend, I think it was Sunday, like 9 at night as you do, talking about AI and this opportunity, that opportunity, someone should do this, someone should do that. And we sort of thought, why don't we do it? So you can hear that it literally, you had that kind of that awkward silence, like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And we started a business this week, incorporated it.
Wow.
And that was another moment of screw it, just do it, was kind of, do I want to start another business? I haven't got the bandwidth, but it fascinates me and I think it's a huge opportunity. And that wasn't awkward, it was just a silent moment of thinking to myself, thinking all my knowledge, everything I know about my time, thinking about my partner. He's like, I know what she's going to say about me starting another business because you know as well.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it was all going in my head and it was like, screw it, just do it.
Interesting. And do you think you've had time to reflect on it now, like only a couple of days, but do you think I've got the energy?
He's like me. He's often we're sort of talking over each other a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got the same thoughts, but often we don't have to say anything because we're always thinking the same things. But we come at them from slightly different angles, which you always need in co-founders. Because if you're the same person, it's just going to get quite messy. So we're still sort of ironing out, the actual structure, framework, who's doing what, where, when. He lives in Portugal, so we're sorting it out. But I think it's a huge opportunity. He's a great entrepreneur. I think we work well together. I think we'll create something interesting, but it's got to happen very quickly.
It has to.
It's moving so quickly.
Yeah.
Even the name, we've called it Implement AI. So it's kind of like, it is what it says in the tin. So even time to create some funky brand that people don't know what it means. I haven't got time for that.
No. So I often have those conversations with people wanting to start a podcast. It's like, do you call it the name on the tin, like the education podcast, or do you call it something, subjective?
Well, I've done lots of branding. I've been through lots of branding processes. Cost me a lot of money over the years. And you've got the literal ones, and they got the ones that are a play. So I was explaining that I want to call it maybe shovel. So when somebody said, why have you called it Shovel? It's AI company. Like, because in this gold rush, and I don't want to go panning for gold. It's too risky. The world's changing too quickly. The people that make the real money, the ones that sell the shovels.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's what I want to do.
I love that. Be interesting, a conversation we'll have in 12 months' time then. See what's happened.
Yeah, okay. See how many shovels. I'll be selling you a shovel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So here you go. Here's a question then. What do you want to happen in the next 12 months? 12 months from now, what conversation do you want to be having about the new business?
So you sort of, you kind of know what I'm up to, don't you? Not in the great detail, but you sort of track and follow the chat now and then. And, you know, I mean, running a business has been quite difficult. And you talk about starting businesses, you know, raising money. People think because you've been a dragon and you're on TV, everything's easy, and it isn't. So, you know, we're looking at pivoting a business. But the last year has been quite hard. I've just been very focused on minutiae and raising finance and dealing with issues and, you know, in some cases not being successful raising the money you need, to be quite frank. And I've kind of realised, and my partner as well, we need to restructure our lives a little bit. So I'm much more restructuring it now so that I'm not tied to being in London all the time. You know, we've got our van conversion, which we're actually thinking of selling because we weren't using it. Yeah, but no one's willing to pay what it cost me to make. So we're kind of like, there's a bit of a gap. So we thought,
it's not like an off-the-shelf model, is it?
No, it's a bit bonkers, our van. Yeah. I did a thing yesterday, and I need to be in St James's Square for like 8:30 in the morning, and I'm in North London. Right. I thought, I can't be bothered driving through the traffic. So I drove the van and I was in St James's Square having a nap in my van, having a shower in the morning. And I could hear two guys talking outside about our latest hedge fund. And it's about that far away. There's me in the shower and this van. So we're going to use the van, like maybe spend July and just go over Europe. But I want to be able to work from anywhere remotely.
Yeah. You want to be a digital nomad.
Yeah, I mean, I do some like advisory things where I have to be in London.
That's so millennial of you.
It is a bit, isn't it? So I've got things that are going to sort of punctuate times where I need to be in London, like advisory, face-to-face stuff. But generally, kind of restructure it. My work-life balance went in the completely wrong direction over the last 18
But you moved
months.
down to London, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been between London and North West, spending more time in London. So we're kind of working that one out. My mum's up north still.
Yeah.
So I have to go and see my mum. So I'm up there quite a lot. And my partner's up there, Nicola. But she's probably going to spend more time in London. And she's working more with me now, actually. Which she has to, otherwise you'd never see me. So,
she's figured that out.
Yeah.
But it's often the way, isn't it? And I had one of those moments, you know, during lockdown when you reflect back on it, you're going, hang on, I'm in London 2, 3, 4 days a week. That was never the plan. Why I'm in London 2, 3, 4 days a week? I'm here by the beach. We're going to the sea every morning, which we will drag you into and throw you in at some point.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, I love this. Just get to see my friends every morning before we start work, have a coffee, then start the day.
You're still doing that?
Yeah.
Every day?
Not every day.
Yeah.
Like this is the first winter. This was our third winter.
Yeah.
And we kind of stepped back from it and started doing it weekly, and now it's ramped up to like 3 or 4 days a week. But it's still freaking cold.
Yeah, it's nuts. but everyone now, everyone's into the.
I know, it's like you don't want to talk about it anymore.
Was it the dude with a sign and he had one of those in the air on Instagram saying you can have an ice bath without posting on Instagram?
I thought that was brilliant. yeah, so much now out and about. Interesting. Okay, so. Rewind a little bit then from the screw it, just do it moment then, given what you've said about the new business as well and Moblocks and like your profile. What did appearing Dragon's Den more than Secret Millionaire, I guess, because it's repeated, isn't it? And a couple of series, but what did that do both personally and business-wise to your life and your immediate kind of inner circle?
So business-wise, in terms of the actual businesses I was involved in, didn't help a great deal.
Right.
Because I was very B2B, so business to business. You couldn't, see who I am, see what I do, and walk down the high street and go and walk in my shop and buy my stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't work like that. But people, it's that fame thing as well. It's partly the fame thing. No one knew who the hell I was. So initially, it's kind of fame, really.
Yeah.
And that does open doors. You get to do things. I was a bit of a reluctant celebrity. The BBC actually called me that, one of the producers.
Really?
And and I didn't want to go to the opening of an envelope or fridge, all those usual. And also I wasn't that comfortable with it initially, to be honest, if I'm really honest with you. Quite confident. I'd go out there and do it. I'd sit there in the den and give it my best shot.
Yeah.
But over time, you sort of grew into it. I only did it for 2 years. So I think it's nice to be someone who was a dragon rather than someone that is a dragon. That's how you're sort of people identify you as that
Yeah.
as one permanently. Then we're sort of defined by it, essentially. But then during COVID, they replayed them all because they couldn't film them. So now you're back in the street and you're like, I know you. And you used to be, I know you. Do you work in Barclays in Camden? I know you from somewhere. But now it's like, so that'll probably fade again over time.
Yeah.
So I never really played them, but it opens doors. So what happened was my former chairman, well, the only person that's really mentored me in any way, and it wasn't formal, but he kind of has a little bit now and then, was Sir Ken Alyssa. So Sir Ken Alyssa is a tech entrepreneur as well, a finance entrepreneur, and he's Lord Lieutenant of Greater London. So when you see the royal family out in London, there's a mixed race chap in a nice suit and a sword. That's Sir Ken.
Right.
And he was born in Nottingham, a 2 up, 2 down. You know, it's a fantastic story of himself. Get him on your podcast.
Yeah.
And he'll have more stories. He's got more stories than you can shake a stick at. And so Ken was sort of saying, right, you've got a choice now. You can go celebrity and go to the opening of envelopes and fridges and film premieres and whatever, fall out of a club drunk, or you can go serious. So I went serious. So I ended up on the board of Nesta, the Innovation Foundation, 600 million for 6 years. Did a lot of research on AI and robotics we can probably talk about. And then I ended up on the board of British Business Bank, which during COVID, when we put the 12 went from 12 to 90 billion with a B into the market. So a little on me in my hoodie, sat there on the board of the government bank. So I did things like that. And then I advised Sky on diversity inclusion. I advised a very large automotive manufacturer on future strategy, but we never actually publicly said who it is. That's fascinating. Absolutely bonkers. That's very interesting. So advised lots of companies along the way. And so if it wasn't for my profile, I probably wouldn't get through those doors. Yeah. Really, realistically. And I've come full circle now, really. Now I'm sort of credible, I like to think. I've come full circle where, yes, I'm still involved in businesses, still investing in some businesses. People I tend to know, really, to be honest with you. Starting some companies, some work, some don't. Some you have to go again. And I've kind of come back round to it, to maybe then rebooting the media profile in a way. Because now, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'm not a massive, huge fan of Gary Vee's content, to be honest with you. But he said a very sensible thing the other day, which is not everybody should have a podcast, but everybody should try.
Yeah.
So it's things like that where, the future now, I'm a massive believer in content and content marketing. That's what Moblocks is supposed to be about, really. And the new business is very much going to be content driven. And this is great content, and you can control it. I met a young girl yesterday. I was at a funeral, actually. One of my old friend's father passed away, and one of the sort of grand sort of children of the family, 23, does fashion media PR, did a degree in business marketing PR or something. I goes, what did you do? She goes, I used to love doing a podcast. I said, reboot it, get on with it, because you own it, it's you, it's your conversation, it's important. Even if it never has a huge audience, when you go somewhere else for another job interview, you say, well, I've got this podcast, listen to it. Yeah. So I think that I've come back around now to sort of leveraging the profile a little bit, but building on it. I don't have millions of followers. I monetize my social media in very different ways. Yeah. It's more about keynotes, talks, advisories. It's not really about monetizing it for adverts.
But that's the key, isn't it? Is that you then own the narrative if you produce your own content, rather than you spend your life doing media opportunities, things like that, which all help obviously as well.
Being pushed. So often what happened, I think I tweeted about this a few weeks ago, is that it's becoming, I don't know, you must find this, your clients, becoming increasingly hard to be authentic if the audience you're attracting isn't quite the audience you're expecting. Yeah, yeah. So if you start talking about some conspiracy theory X, just you mention it, and so your numbers go through the roof, and you think, oh, hang on a minute, I don't believe in this stuff at all, but that was quite interesting. Yeah. I'll mention it again. And then boom, I'll get someone to talk about it. Boom, 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 boom. It starts ticking up. Suddenly, and then you start getting ad revenue. You start getting sponsors, maybe slightly funky sponsors, but they still write checks. Suddenly your income, your livelihood, your profile is based around something that is not something you would have actually selected. No, but and then you get sucked down that rabbit hole. Yeah. And you see more people doing that, and it's important to try and avoid that.
Yeah, it was interesting. Somebody you introduced me to, actually, Jay Morton, who I recorded in the studio with as well, not that long ago, and we were talking about podcasts with him, and it was like, because I'm literally going to climb Everest, I'm going to Australia to do Who Dares Wins, I'm going to the Antarctic. I want something where I can just record in a batch, but then release at my leisure, and I'm still front and center, and people can see. Otherwise, it's just never going to get done.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, like places like where we are now, where you don't need all. I've got all this tech.
You have seen it, yeah.
So my view is, I always want to know how things work. So I learned to edit in Premiere Pro. I know how to sound mix and how to vision mix. I built a studio, literally wire by wire. But then I want to pay someone else to do it. But at least I know what they're doing and what they're talking about.
Yeah, and I think that's helpful as well to learn how to do it first. Yeah.
But now you don't need the kit. You can just turn up somewhere, pay what, £100 maybe, and it's all done for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, unless you want a high quality one, then you go to Podpreneur.
Correct. Then you get a Podpreneur. That's right. Would you do anything like that again then, like Dragon's Den, going on like mainstream TV?
Yes, but it would have to be something. It has to fit my brand and and me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I've been asked to do things that are, and I've turned them down actually, even business shows that. It's all about jeopardy and people looking stupid and the media likes characters. I'm actually considering, if there's a sponsor out there that wants to come and have a conversation about doing a proper YouTube series, like doing the proper get out there, a bit like Kitchen Nightmares, but more about small businesses, technology, how it can help them. Going to talk to them. They've got a problem. We help them solve it. Might not all be technology, but maybe a sort of a slant towards that. And help businesses solve problems and get out there and tell those stories. The thing about Dragon's Den is that moment of jeopardy where you put your ambition, your dream on a table, and there's some people sitting in seats that sort of say yay or nay. That's hard to beat because most businesses, if you've got one, it's quite boring. It's admin and stress. That doesn't make great TV. So it's finding those things, a bit like Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. But so I want to do a YouTube series and work out what the format would be, and maybe you could take that onto terrestrial. Yeah, terrestrial's still very powerful. I don't watch terrestrial TV really at all anymore. I don't really have time or come across it, so I don't see adverts. When I see adverts, it freaks me out. I've seen adverts for years. Yeah. Even YouTube, you've got premium, you don't see adverts.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of rebooting that to the podcast and the video series. But again, focused on business and that intersection, especially in small businesses, of business, your personal life and your business life. You can't put a piece of paper between them. I've got no interest in sitting around with very wealthy people that have made it, and talking about how they made it. It's all been done. It doesn't interest me. I'm more interested in real people.
I actually think it is genuinely a good idea if you think like with Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, where he's going to a food business and he's literally tearing apart the menu, and then he'll go back and just see if they've implemented the advice.
But I want to go and be more. I'm here to help you. It's positive. You've got an issue. Let's sort it out. Not make look like a fool.
No, exactly. It's really negative.
But terrestrial TV, it likes that because it works.
Yeah,
they like characters, personalities, and jeopardy. And Dragon's Den still works because of that, and hard to do in that format, that moment of jeopardy.
Yeah,
but there's got to be a way of moving that on. And the beauty of it is, if you really invested in it properly, you can keep going back. Terrestrial's not very good at doing that because it's in a box, a series. Whereas this kind of content, if we decide, let's do a follow-up tomorrow, you just go and do it.
Yeah,
absolutely. You can go and do it. You can film on your phone almost.
Yeah.
Whereas terrestrial, you can't do that. It's a big machine.
Yeah.
You need to sort of wind back up to go and film anything. So that's what I'd like to do. Just a question. And the ambition's got to be is you approach it like a business.
Yeah.
Put the money in. Create good. The thing about content is, and you know this, it's soul destroying when you start making content. I've made like YouTube videos for hours. I built green screen studio, I did it all. I've probably got 1,400 followers on there.
Yeah.
Because you tend to just give up now, but they're probably the hardest followers to ever get.
Yeah.
But if you make great content and you're persistent, you're consistent, and maybe you put some money in terms of the quality of it and marketing it, eventually you will break through. And the ones that do are the ones that are almost maniacally consistent, really. And I haven't been.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is it. That's what I said. It is that consistency, you know. And I remember the first episode I did, two downloads
Look at you.
in week one.
Yeah.
You know, 6 years, and there've been many moments.
I remember them.
Yeah, many moments I've thought, I can't be asked to do it now. You know, can I be? But somebody cancels on you, whatever, and you've got to scramble around to find something. But it, like you say, if you treat it as a business, you get super organised, and you're just consistent.
And look for a payback. And it might be a payback that is, something you want to get your message out. It might be a payback that you wanted to cover its costs.
Yeah.
It might be a payback you wanted to be your main source of income. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Or it might be something you can sell even. People have done that.
People have done that. People turned it into TV shows as well and monetized it that way.
So it depends what your ambitions are. But whatever it is, go at it and take it seriously. It doesn't work, does it, unless you are reasonably committed to it.
No, I don't think it does. And look, we've all seen how Stephen Bartlett, say, crafted his personal brand that combines his social media presence, but it's powered by his podcast, which is YouTube channel. Yeah. But he's also been backed by mainstream TV. I think he's season 2 now, Dragon's Den as well. So 2 seasons like you. He literally appears to be 360 degrees. Do you envisage doing something similar like that? In that, I know you're not interested in the social media side of things, but if you want to take it seriously,
you do social because you just gotta have to.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a marketing.
You drive people to the,
and it's an input output, and so my social is kind of like LinkedIn. I enjoy, it's kind of my sort of world in many ways. But if I had something to go and point it at, so if I had my podcast and my YouTube series, then I can point it at something. Yeah, it's got a purpose, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas now I kind of do it 'cause I feel like I have to.
Well, exactly.
And and sometimes it just helps promote the odd thing here and there. But I think that there's an opportunity to do something new in terms of the way business is presented in the media, because business is changing massively, and that old thing of people sitting in chairs doling out cash to you has had its time, really. And Dragon's Den now, people in there with apps and stuff. And I did the first tech deal on Dragon's Den, a proper one, and
is that Wonderly?
Lost my name, Wonderly. Yeah. So those guys came in, amazing guys. There were 4 Israeli PhDs with a term sheet of a VC, and I got 5% for 100 grand. It was a £2 million valuation, highest in Dragon's Den until about 2020, till some crypto stuff turned up.
You're right.
And everyone said to me, "You're mad. You shouldn't do deals like that." And it's not public, but they sold it for a number that is closer to 100 million than 50 million. So
right,
so very large fund, and they've gone again.
Have they?
So those guys are going to do very well out of that. So I think I probably did the best deal ever on Dragon's Den in terms of tech, invested, and a proper exit.
Yeah.
But it's not popular, which is quite frustrating. It is
Will
now.
It ever be? Yeah, but it is now. Here you go.
Detail.
Did you ever? Interesting. You're going to see Holly Branson this afternoon. After this, did you ever get to tell Richard the story after you've been on Dragon's Den that you took his advice? No.
I think I've told Holly maybe. But it's like with people, you spend time with people, that they're much bigger than I am even. So, but no, I think I may have shared it, but he's one of the seminal. So the thing about that story that I really think about is, so if you rewind, right, I'm a mixed race Milltown comprehensive school kid, who failed his 11 plus, did his O-levels twice, hooked by the city, the story, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly you're sitting on a private game reserve, having a Corona on a table with just you and Richard Branson, who is the only entrepreneur I've ever followed or been interested in or read his books as I was growing up, the only one. And I'm sitting there in his private game as Uli Saba asking him whether I should become a dragon on Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just nuts.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've got a hoodie on.
Yeah.
I get like tingles, hairs on my arm. And that I'm a, I've had my ups and downs, but I'm an example of social mobility. Although I didn't come from a difficult background. Right? My mum and dad worked very hard. They were working class, and then they became middle class. How we want to put people into boxes. So I had quite a comfortable living, and they were there, and they were great mentors and great role models. So I didn't come from like the gutter sort of thing.
No.
But I did come from Milltown, where when I said I wanted to be an accountant, everyone thought I was nuts. And then to go on that journey, and that's the kind of story that I try and use to inspire other people that you can do the same.
Yeah.
And increasingly now you can. I changed my accent. I used to have got a northern accent. Comes out after a few caipirinhas, as you know.
I know.
So,
yeah, great.
So, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, I was, they call it in D&I circles now, diversity inclusion, which I'm involved in.
Yes.
They call it covering. And you burn a
do
lot of
they?
energy
Okay.
covering, pretending you're someone you're not.
Right.
And now you don't have to do that.
Mm.
Technology lets you do things a lot faster, a lot easier, a lot less risk. The barriers to entry are coming down. You can start your own business a lot easier. The world's changing rapidly. And in my view, as we've talked about, it's going to start changing a lot faster.
Mm. Do you ever take the time to like reflect on those moments? Or life's obviously been crazy for the last few years. You've been flat out. You haven't had the time to take that out. And maybe now the time you're going, I want to restructure my life so you can actually take it at a different pace.
The last 2 years have been quite hard work, I'd say. I wouldn't say I've really enjoyed them, really. I've just been... You kind of dig in to do something, you commit to it. So now I've kind of stopped. I stopped, and that's why I went to Miami. Really. So Nicola and I, we went shooting in Orlando. We went on, the airboats in the Keys.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah,
it was like
down the Everglades.
Yeah, guns and gators, that kind of thing.
You just see you there with your hat.
And then we drove down to the Keys in a Mustang convertible, as you have to.
Yeah, I did that.
We were laughing that every tourist was in a Mustang convertible.
Brilliant.
Bright red.
Yeah,
you could tell
yeah.
them a tourist. So and that was kind of nice little reset.
Yeah.
And they sort of came back and...
Did you go to the Ultra Festival as well, though?
I didn't.
I wondered. I saw the outfits.
They were there on a bachelorette hen party.
Was that what it was? Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Okay.
Yeah, it took her a day before she could speak again, and she was all right. But Ultra looked great. So I've kind of reset a little bit, and now I'm quite enjoying myself. Got energized again.
And so tell us a little bit, maybe transitioning Moblocks to tell us the name of the new business again. I know it's got
So it's something we call Implement AI.
Implement. I know. That was the word I was
It's
missing.
kind of written like Implement AI.
Yeah.
That's a word, but we say
okay.
Implement AI.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about that transition then.
So
You're going
about the
through.
transition. So we're sort of, I think most businesses I'm involved in, one way or the other, are transitioning to helping businesses understand their options and then implement artificial intelligence. So, and we can talk about what artificial intelligence is, machine learning, GPT, LLM, all the jargon you're hearing. Real AI doesn't exist yet. Real general AI or super intelligence, it's not there yet. So in AI, you've got you sort of machine learning, which you kind of got now, the GPTs, these sort of large language models. It used to be that you have people doing, I don't know, computer vision or language translations or something like that, and they're all kind of different worlds, and that's all come together. So there's a lot of money and expertise and evolution and revolution going into it. So it's starting to move very, very quickly. So my view is that the world's going to change very quickly, and it's going to be exponential. And we simple, more humans don't understand it. So, I've got my daughters. The youngest one's 12. So I can imagine her lifetime would be illegal for a human to drive a car in a city.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous because we're fallible, stupid.
Yeah.
Your drivers, your admin, those jobs are under threat, but so are surgeons, so are accountants, so are lawyers. So the world's going to change. It's not just about some technology, but what do we do all day? But in the interim, for what happens, there's an opportunity to use technology to, again, lower barriers, grow your businesses, grow your income, whatever you do, and to reduce costs in the middle. There's more profit and margin. So my ambition is to help people understand it, and people don't. And it's going to be a lot of noise, and this technology, you need to understand it. Now, eventually, it'll be like Star Trek. It'll all be natural language. You'll just talk stuff. So, now we are cyborgs, but the interface is rubbish.
Yeah.
It's these things.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll be natural language actually works. You'll be able to just talk things and be able to do things for you. And eventually, I don't know how far out, you'll just think about it.
Yeah, that's the crazy.
So that's where it is inevitable.
Yeah.
It's not if. This is all when.
I remember hearing, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago when you got Google bringing out these glasses and you're looking.
Well, they were just early into the game.
Yeah.
But they brought it into the sort of consciousness of, what AR could be. But now they're all a chairman of one of the companies. He was a chairman of Wave Optics, which is sort of Snap, which is all AR glasses. So augmented reality AR will be here a lot faster than VR. You know, I think VR is still quite a bit of a way out, just because of technology and the compute power, and just the experience isn't great. But AR, so you know, sitting in your car windscreen now you've got the speed on the windscreen. You've got that kind of car. Whereas eventually you'll sit in a car that you won't need to drive in an immersive experience. Yeah, that is your work, it's your family, it's a video call, it's a beautiful forest scene with the wind blowing the bluebells. You know,
I'm there.
You know what I mean? And it will change that based on what your watch is told it won't even be a car, it'll be a mobility platform, where your heart rate is. So that's the world that we can experience. And often you hear in history, everyone in history say, have you ever seen the film Master and Commander?
Yes.
So it's like the big wooden warships. And he's like, this amazing new technology, the technology of our age. And it's a wooden ship. Yeah. And everyone's always said that in their age. Yeah. I think our age, this age we're living in, is fundamentally different. There is a step change, a switch is being flicked from human to digital, and not the internet where we're going to use cloud-based infrastructure. This is software that will write software and will design robotics in ways that we won't even understand.
No.
And that the difficult part of that journey is that a ship is leaving the harbour. And it's accelerating away faster and faster and faster. So now you can kind of make the leap if you take a good run at it. But it comes a point where you're not going to hit that deck. Yeah. And once that ship leaves the harbour, everybody left on the quayside, who will be the majority of mankind, is staying there. Yeah. Because when something's exponential, you can never catch up. Even if you start going exponentially, a year or two later, you can never catch up. Yeah. Because the rate of growth. So the world is going to change dramatically, and
you want to be part of.
Well, there's an opportunity, to go into business, to help businesses, and generate wealth essentially. But there will come a point where we all need to have a long, hard think about where it's all going.
And what are your ambitions for the company now? How do you look at harnessing it?
So we're kind of restructuring Mailblocks. If we do, that's going to be more focused on helping small businesses focusing on, to pivot really. Yeah. Helping small businesses focus on AI. Mailblocks essentially was set up the idea was to help small businesses understand technology. Yeah. But we were quite focused on more existing tech in a way. And if you think about, I'm hiring people that are, and I've become quite a good one now, a prompt engineer. Someone that can write prompts and extract the best out of these systems. So prompt and engineer is some people you need today. It's going to be like eFax, between fax and email. Right. It's one of those weird technologies or roles that it won't exist in 2 years. Yeah. So I've been kind of learning things like that to help companies. But the point is that as the technology begins to change very, very quickly, it's going to become even harder for small companies to talk about and understand technology, understand their options, how they implement it. When I've been talking to you this morning, you've already glazed over before we started. So you're a great example. You're open to, you see the opportunity. Yeah. You get it. Yeah. I could do this, I could do that. Yeah. But I'm busy.
Exactly. Where do I spend the time to understand it?
So how do I understand it? So I think in a way that's kind of come of its age in terms of really helping small companies. And obviously when we build the community and the base, we can help them buy other things as well. It doesn't have to be all high-tech stuff. Yeah. And then implement AI is different. That's more slightly bigger companies. That's more literally about a framework to help you really understand what your business needs are, how you can, increase revenue, reduce costs, create more time, whatever your ambition is, have real outcomes. And then we help you implement it and then keep it up to date. So it's quite a very different business.
Yeah, very.
But still revolving around helping businesses understand their options and implement AI.
Okay, here's a question then. If we kind of talked about, where you come from, Milltown, failed GCSEs, A levels, resat them, redid them again. What you've achieved in business, leaving your job to become an entrepreneur. Would you be happy if, not happy is the wrong word, would you accept it? Say if you never achieve the heights that you've achieved before, like trying to start a new business, we know the success, failure rates, etc. And you're talking about kind of restructuring your life. Would you be comfortable if they didn't hit the heights that you were hoping to? Would you be accepting of that, or do you still, does that ambition really?
No, I've made money in the past, right? But I've never done the big one. I've never sold something for 100 million, and bought an island. So, not that I would, but I haven't done that. I've made money here. I've lost money, made money. So you go on Google, I'm worth $100 million or something, which I'm definitely not. But so I've never done the big one. So what drives me though, it's not obviously when you've got investors, you're trying to. That's what they want.
Of course.
But the entrepreneurs, you want to be proven to be right. I think that's the driver. The money kind of comes with it eventually if you're successful. That's how it's kind of measured. So it's not really starting businesses like Implement AI, things we're involved in, is fascinating. There's an opportunity to create value and businesses that are adding value to someone else's life or their business. Yeah. And they're willing to pay you for it. And if you can do it at the right cost base, as a margin, you've got a business. And hopefully they'll keep coming back. So I'd like to do something which scales more and can get out of. So, we start with Atherton
Bikes. Yeah.
Got the hoodie on here.
Are you still biking?
Not as much as I should do. but again, because I was always kind of stuck in London or sometimes. So I'm restructuring my life now. And I was talking to the CEO the other day, Dan, saying, look, I want to. So the Athertons, if you don't know who they are, well, you know who they are.
The world champions, aren't they?
Yeah, world champion mountain bike. We started a business and now we're building a big production facility with Welsh government support.
I was going to say it's in Wales, isn't it?
In Wales. I can't pronounce it, I get it wrong. I just call it
Machynlleth, yeah.
But they own a mountain called Dovey Bike Park next door. So they've got a mountain with a bike park on it. I've got a flipping mountain bike production facility down the valley. Yeah. And I should spend a lot more time there. So I should be there in the van. Yeah. In the office, working with Dan or just doing my own thing.
Get on the bike in the morning for a trail. Yeah.
And then go and ride a bike. So that's what my life should be more of. So Atherton's is scaling. We've, I guess probably one of those, if not the most innovative mountain bike company in the world now, in terms of how we make things. And we're launching a new products coming along for the mid-market, it's cheaper. And then we're going to do other things, electric bikes and that kind of thing. Okay. So that's really growing. And then I'm involved in space. So I'm quite a big investor in SEN, S-E-N. And that is basically building this is a great one, a constellation of satellites around all of Earth. So you'll have 8K real-time video of all of Earth. So you could, if you wanted to, you could task a satellite to go and film your house.
That's nuts.
Or you can, and a car's about 2 pixels with the kind of high res. Wow. So you start to be able to think about it.
And this is like what, 5K we're filming on now, something like that?
Yeah, so obviously when it's 4K, eventually there'll be 8K, the new sensors. But they're bigger, aren't they? So there'll be 8K. And I just came from a meeting now talking about, satellites and technology. Has it got the sufficient flight heritage in space and all this stuff? And what's the difference between geostationary and orbit and all this kind of stuff? So I'm sitting there, I'm learning. Yeah. So I'm sort of helping, getting involved in the business too. So space again, but the big things are it's carbon, it's space, it's genomics, it's AI. They're the big things that are going to change our world. Yeah. So I've got my I've got my sort of fingers in space, not so much genomics or healthcare, and then additive manufacturing. That's what Atherton Bikes is. Yeah, we 3D print.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get my head around it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I shouldn't say this because the techies will go bananas. But you've got drain pipes in the joints. That bit's 3D printed. Yeah. Where the pipes slot in, that's carbon tubing. Okay. That's how I make the frames. So that's scaling up, and I think that's going to be a very successful business. So I've got lots of things going on. But I think going back to what we talked about earlier, my strength is that my screw it, just do it moment was I became an operator. So I can do it if I have to, but I'm increasingly better that people run the businesses. Yeah. I'm much better sitting above them, supporting them, advising them, and doing more things. So it's more spread my bets. And
is that like the last couple of years as well, like being like back in the trenches essentially?
Yeah. If you're an entrepreneur, anyone's been honest with you, an entrepreneur, when you start out, you've got no business and no income. You know, you've been there. And then suddenly I have lots of investments and things. So every so often one pops and then you get a bit of money. Oh, that's great. But never really had income. Never really focused on income. It's probably a mistake, to be quite frank. But, so I have income like advisory and I do, you know, keynotes and that was all quite nice. It's, for most people, I think it's quite a lot of income.
Yeah.
But I was focused on capital. So I'm focusing a bit more on, still doing the capital plays, but I'm also focusing more on the income.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm quite interested in, you know, building the podcast and the brand and doing more sort of...
well, then it's consistent, isn't it?
The peers brand in many ways. It's consistent. And then having the income, so it kind of irons out the
troughs.
The choppy. And a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. I did a post recently about entrepreneurs need to work very, very hard to make sure, and the investors that back them, that they do have access to capital, that they can take some money out, they can earn a decent income, they can sell down. They always, when people invest, they say, well, can I sell down some shares? My company's worth 10 million. I'm raising $1 million. I need 100 grand to get the extension done. They're like, oh, you can't do that. And the investors want you committed. Oh, shut up.
Yeah, you need a life. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, interesting. So going back to maybe the mountain biking and the restructuring your life, when are you at your happiest?
That's a good question, actually. And I'm at happiest hanging out with the children. You know, I've got a stepson and 2 daughters, and Nicola's hanging out. But I haven't really. I need to go and, what's the phrase? I need to go and find my why again. Really, not my why. I know that it's more. I've got too much why actually, and what. it's finding what do I really enjoy. So it was mountain biking, it still is. Yeah. But you know, I'm early. I don't know, lucky obviously, but I'm 52 now. Yeah. God, that's weird saying that. So, you know, mountain riding bikes up hills, now the electric ones. So what I need to do really is spend more time doing the things I love doing, which is, I kind of do find time with the family, which is good, but riding the bikes, you know, I should be in the office in Wales and riding a bike in Dovey. I mean, they've got an uplift. It's like a ski resort. I don't have to ride up the hill.
Oh, really?
So hello.
That's brilliant.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Traveling more. So, you know, we want to get the breakout door with Explorer, our van, and travel around Europe. Maybe drive to Prague. I might have to drive to Prague for a few days and just do something. Drive to Norway. I mean, you know, my van, it's even got heated water tanks, so I can go into the Arctic. It's got the full works. Yeah. So I think I need to spend more time on finding out what that is actually, because I've lost that a little bit over the last few years, being really honest.
But I asked that question because I've just come back from skiing holiday with another family, you know, my family, my daughter's same age as yours, I think about, 14 and 16, so similar. Friend, their kids, similar age. And for me, you know, it was amazing when we got there, because it literally, end of the season, it's like hit or miss with the weather, and it literally snowed for 3 days. And for me, then next day it's blue sky, sun's out, I'm snowboarding through fresh powder with the people I want to be with, and I'm just like that. Why do you only do the things you really love once fucking year? Need to do that more often.
We talked earlier when I was organising me getting up to do this pod, and you were like, it'd be great to do that and spend more time there. And I'm kind of like, I get that. The issue is,
go on.
Eventually you get bored.
Well, yeah.
You just do. I've been there. Yeah. You think, I know, I'm going to chill out now. I've got some money in the bank. And then things happens and you just get bored. And for me, people have said, well, why are you starting companies? And
exactly.
I'm like, the process has always fascinated me. So this is me.
Yeah.
And anyone that knows me really well, you know me reasonably well, is that, you know what I'm like, is that I get obsessed with stuff.
I was about to say, you get obsessed with things.
Drill down. I can't just detail. I can't just read about AI or something. I'm reading all the white papers and I'm on bonkers actually, because I like to know what I'm talking about. But the process of building a business and the people involved in it actually has always fascinated me. But eventually, even if it's not building a business, it could be a charitable work. Even you will get bored even doing the things you love.
Yeah, exactly.
You need variety.
Yes, agreed. Very interesting catching up.
Yeah, there's always a lot going on. It changes, but I think I'm hopefully going into the rest of this year, probably 2024 as well. A much sort of better place to structure things better. I will come back next time when we have another one of these and tell you what it is I enjoy doing that I'm doing more of.
There you go. We want that.
'Cause
Yeah.
I do need to sort it out, to be quite frank. You do need a balance.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not great at that. I
No.
kind of go for the tangent and I kind of forget, but I've got, you know, Nicola.
Yeah.
She tends to remind me quite loudly.
So she should. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting times. I think interesting for all of us. I think you're going to hear more and more about artificial intelligence, the way it's changing our world, changing the way we do business, making us, especially sort of small businesses, people like yourself, more productive, more efficient. There are existential risks to lots of things. And it's basically we've got to plot our path through that because it's happening. It's not going away.
No, indeed, it's not. And yeah, I'm fascinated. It's just, I guess, positioning that in a way that I can digest in the time frame that I need to digest it in, and then implement
And that's
it.
why I started a new business to do.
Boom.
To do exactly that.
Action. Piers Lenny, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Screw It, Just Do It. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below this video, as this episode helped move you closer to where you want to be. All that I ask is that if you enjoyed this episode and then it's moved you closer to getting to where you want to be, that you share this episode so that it helps one other person do just the same. Just ask yourself what small action will move you forward to get you from where you are, then screw it and just do it. Until next time.